Michael Hughes, Michael Hughes Training. Here's a question for you. How long should your training sessions be? I don't mean the opportunistic training that takes place by the bedside. I mean formal training sessions with a trainer like myself. How long should they be? 1 hour, 2 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours? It's a bit like that question about the piece of string, isn't it? But I do have an answer for you. Your training session needs to be long enough to meet the learning needs of your staff. Your training needs to be long enough to meet the learning needs of your staff. No shorter, no longer. If the training session is too short, those learning needs won't be met. If the training session is too long, the learning needs will be met, but time will be wasted. So when I'm designing a training course, I'm not just thinking of the learning needs of your staff. I'm also thinking of the quantity of information that I'm trying to share, and the complexity of the information that I'm trying to share, and the abilities of the staff that I'm sharing it with. Generally speaking, the more information I'm trying to share, the more time I need to share it. The more complex the information, the more time I need to share it. And the lower the ability of the staff, the more time I need to share it. And conversely, if there's very little information, and if the information is really simple, and if your staff have high abilities, then we need very little time indeed. When I started teaching, all my courses were 4 hours long. And when I'd arrive at a care home, the manager would take me aside and say, "Michael, could you lower it down to about 3 hours, please?" So I did. And that worked. That worked. And 3 hours does seem to be the industry standard now. So all my half-day training courses are 3 hours long. In that time, I find that I am meeting the learning needs of almost all your staff. And I'm conveying the right amount of material. And I'm conveying it at a sufficient level. It's not too hard, it's not too easy. Okay? So I'm conveying it in a sufficient level of complexity to your staff, and I'm matching that information to their abilities, on most of their abilities. There will always be some people with higher abilities, some people with lower abilities, but I'm matching the course at the right level. If you were to ask me to shorten the course to say 2 hours, or maybe even an hour, let's say, we could negotiate that. And what I would do is I would look at the training schedule and come back to you, and I'd say, okay, here is my suggestion for a 2-hour version or 1-hour version. And you will notice that I would have taken certain bits out. And I might have simplified a couple of bits, because that is what's necessary. You can only squeeze so much into a smaller period of time. So the 3-hour time period does seem to work, but training can be delivered in less time, 2 hours or 1 hour. But again, we have to think about the quantity of information, the complexity of the information, and the ability of your staff to absorb it. I would rather have slightly more time than too little time. By the way, in terms of how long that piece of string is, it's twice its length when folded in half. My name is Michael Hughes. Send me an email, info@michaelhughestraining.com. In the meantime, please subscribe, check out my other videos, and keep up the good work.